Homes to realize that they live, gross topically, next door to each other, spending their lives faithful and alone, rising at the same time, walking cross-hatched streets like a couple, each in their own city, never breaching, never quite touching, never speaking a word across the border. There were folk tales of renegades who breach and avoid breach to live between the cities, not exiles but insiles, evading justice and retribution by consummate ignorability. Polaniuk's novel, Diary of an Insile, had been illegal in Bezel, and, I was sure, in Alcoma. But like most people, I had skimmed a pirated edition. I did the tests, pointing with a cursor at an Alcomon temple, an Alcomon citizen, an Alcomon lorry delivering vegetables as quickly as I could. It was faintly insulting stuff, designed to catch me inadvertently seeing Bezel. There had been nothing like this the first time I had done such studies. Not very long ago, the equivalent tests would have involved being asked about the different national characters of Alcomans, and judging who, from various pictures with stereotyped physiognomies, was Alcoman, Bez, or other, Jewish, Muslim, Russian, Greek, whatever, depending on the ethnic anxieties of the time. Seen the temple? Dot said. And that there used to be a college. Those are apartment blocks. He jabbed his finger at the buildings as we passed, told his driver, to whom he had not introduced me, to go various routes. Weird? He said to me. Guess it must be strange. Yes. I looked at what Dot showed me. Unseeing, of course, but I could not fail to be aware of all the familiar places I passed gross topically, the streets at home I regularly walked, now a whole city away, particular cafes I frequented that we passed, but in another country. I had them in the background now, hardly any more present than Alcoma was when I was at home. I held my breath. I was unseeing Bezel. I had forgotten what this was like. I had tried and failed to imagine it. I was seeing Alcoma. Day, so the light was that of the overcast cold sky, not the twists of neon I had seen in so many programs about the neighboring country, which the producers evidently thought it easier for us to visualize in its garish night. But that ashy daylight illuminated more and more vivid colors than in my old Bezel. The old town of Alcoma was at least half transmuted these days into a financial district, curly-cued wooden roof lines next to mirrored steel. The local street hawkers wore gowns and patched-up shirts and trousers, sold rice and skewers of meat to smart men and a few women, past whom my nondescript compatriots, I tried to see, walked on their way to Bezel's more quiet destinations, in the doorways of glass blocks. After mild censure from UNESCO, a finger wag tied to some European investment, Alcoma had recently passed zoning laws to stop the worst of the architectural vandalism its boom time occasioned. Some of the ugliest recent works had even been demolished, but still the traditional Baroque curlicues of Alcoma's heritage sites were made almost pitiful by their giant young neighbors. Like all Bezel dwellers, I had become used to shopping in the foreign shadows of foreign success. Ilitan everywhere, in Dot's running commentary, from the vendors, taxi drivers, and insult-hurling local traffic. I realized how much incentive I had been unhearing on cross-hatched roads at home. Each city in the world has its own road grammar, and though we were not in any total Alcoma areas yet, so these streets shared the dimensions and shapes of those I knew. They felt in the sharp turns we took more intricate. It was as strange as I had expected it would be, seeing and unseeing, being in Alcoma. We went by narrow byways less frequented in Bezel, deserted there though bustling in Alcoma, or which were pedestrian only in Bezel. Our horn was constant. Hotel? Dot said. Probably want to get cleaned up and have something to eat, right? Where then? I know you must have some ideas. You speak good Ilitan, Borlu. Better than my Bez. He laughed. I've got a few thoughts. Places I'd like to go. I held my notebook. You got the dossier I sent? Sure did, Borlu. That's the lot of it, right? That's where you're at? I'll fill you in about what we've been up to, but... He held up his.